Hello everyone and welcome to another MCAT ACE lecture. In today's video we are going to discuss the reproductive system and the difference between mitosis and meiosis. So I've divided this lecture into two parts. In part one we are going to review all the topics that are shown here in the red box, which includes the difference between diploid and haploid cells, the mechanisms of mitosis and meiosis, how eggs and sperms are being produced, the other terms for which is oogenesis or spermatogenesis, and then go over the functions of different reproductive organs, and in the end discuss how male and female sexual organs develop from their embryonic structures. Alright, and then in the second part we will go over the male and female reproductive structures and the hormonal controls of the male and female systems. And then finally we will discuss integration of our reproductive system with the nervous control, how basically the reproductive hormones affect our brain. And then from there on, we will, as always, conclude our video with some practice questions. All right, so here starting with the first part of this video, let's go over the difference between diploid and haploid cells. So basically, cells that have two pairs of each chromosome, the other name for which is homologous chromosomes. These are called diploids. And here, like for instance, you can see a diploid zygote right here. It has a pair of red chromosomes, a pair of orange chromosomes, and a pair of green chromosomes. So these two red ones, for instance, are homologous chromosomes. And so since there is two pairs of each chromosome, therefore these are called diploid cells or 2N. And these diploid cells can replicate by mitosis in order to yield more diploid cells, which are also 2N. On the other hand, we have some germ cells, like for instance, the cells in the testes or ovaries that are capable of producing gametes. In males, it's called sperm, and in females, it's called an egg. And these gametes are haploid, meaning that they only have one copy of each chromosome. So here you can see that we only have one orange, one green, and one red. Therefore, once these two gametes combine, a sperm is combining with an egg, that's the time that we get a zygote, which is a diploid. And this zygote will undergo multiple replications until eventually it gives rise to the organisms, like humans, for instance. And so our body has 2N chromosomes, except for the haploid sperms or haploid eggs that are produced by germline cells. So humans have 46 chromosomes. Or the other way to say it is that they have 23 pairs of homologous chromosomes. Sperm and egg, on the other hand, in humans, each of them contain only 23 chromosomes. And so therefore, since they're haploid, it's called N. Now let's move on to the cell cycle and discuss how cell can undergo division. So the cell cycle is divided into all the phases that are shown right here. So this is basically a summary of different phases of the cell cycle. So the first phase is G0, or the quiescent state. This is the state at which time there is a cell cycle arrest. There is no plan for division. And so the other name for it besides G0 or quiescent state is non-growing phase. And during this time, cells will produce proteins for various different functions. All right, like for instance, think of your muscle cells or your nerve cells. They do not normally divide, so they are in their quiescent state. But they still do their function. They still produce the protein they need to do, right? So they are in the quiescent state. They are not growing, but are producing proteins needed to carry out their functions. The next phase is interphase, which is shown right here in the light blue color. And interphase is actually the time during which cell grows and is preparing for the next step, which is mitosis. And that's division of the chromosomes. And then finally cytokinesis, which is division of the cytoplasm. So interphase is actually the growth phase. And interphase is divided into three phases itself. G1, during which time cell grows, in size, and it produces more ribosomes and proteins in preparation for cell division. Then we have the S phase, which is the phase that DNA replicates. So here during the S phase, we have DNA replication. And then finally, we have G2 phase, during which time the cell continues to grow. So here cell continues to grow. And then organelles will also divide. Next, we have mitosis, during which time the chromosomes will separate from each other. And mitosis is divided in 4 different phases. So let's review those. But before I go over those, I'm going to provide you with a memory aid so that you remember the order of these phases. The way I memorize it is called PMAT. So you know how we are taking MCAT, the order of the phases in mitosis is called PMAT. Prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. So now let's go over each phase and discuss what happens during every one of them.